G'day, I'm Mark from Self Sufficient Me. In this video I'm going to give you 4 different types of raised garden bed covers that are easy and cost effective to make to protect your crops from animals like birds and insects, and also the elements like harsh sunlight and cold. Let's get into it. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the last bed out of these 4. So I'm not going to use all 4 to do 4 separate demonstrations. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to set up the framework. And of course the framework is going to remain the same throughout the 4 examples. It's just going to be the covers that change. So what we have here is some poly piping. It's a 25mm or 1-inch pipe, and it's primarily used for irrigation. Then we've got these bamboo stakes here. This is a pack of 10, quite inexpensive to buy like this. They don't last forever, but they still last a reasonable time for the cost. You want it to be about at least 6 foot. That'll give you some scope for a garden bed this high. The only other thing that really isn't in the build of the framework is these clamps here. They're about $2 each. And of course, you do need a good strong scissors or secateurs to be able to cut up the poly piping. Rightio, let's just get into the frame. All right, the first thing I'm going to do is put these stakes in. I like to have 4 sets of posts in, which makes 8. 2 at each end, and then 2 sets in the middle. I'll go here just where the bend starts to curve, and I just push it down close to the inside of the bed until it gets to the bottom. You want at least a foot hanging out. So if it was just there, that'd be fine, but it's a couple of feet. That's fine. That's good. The reason why you want the stakes hanging out a little bit further is because it gives extra strength to the poly pipe, which makes your top structure for where your cover goes over. And you want to do it, of course, directly across. Yeah, that looks about right. They're roughly all about the same height, but it doesn't matter if they're a few inches out. Next thing you do is you get your roll of poly pipe, and don't cut it up. You don't need to. Well, not yet. Get one open end, stick it down one of those posts till it hits the bottom of the garden bed there, and then you just measure it by the eyeball. You want to have a nice curve, but not a huge curve that makes it too flimsy. And then when you hold it there, move it down, hold it to where it meets the base again, and then just cut that off. Then stick that on, and that's your first one done. You're going to have a fair bit of play in it, and that's quite normal. Make them all roughly the same height. Stick it over, pull it down, feed it down to there, hold it up to about the same height, roughly. Yeah, that's about right. Where it's going to meet there, hold that, cut it, and then feed it on. Doesn't matter if they're not all exactly the same height. They're going to be a few inches lower here or there is okay. Last one. And that's pretty much the framework done. Now the first cover I'm going to show you is this bird netting. This is what most people will use to cover their garden beds. It's the most popular. simply because birds and other animals are the ones that do the most damage to crops. You can get other colours, primarily white, but I prefer black because I reckon that black looks better, but it also doesn't stand out as much either. This here, I buy it in really long lengths. It's 4 meters wide by however long you want to buy it, and then I simply cut it to size. UV protected, long lasting. So what I do then is I get my length, drop it at one side, and I just simply go over the top roughly and mark out how much I need. There, and yeah, about there. That gives me a good overhang both sides. Cut that to size. And that's that. Now it's just a matter of spreading it out and letting it drop down. And this is where the clamps come in. Just start clamping it down, and then you're going to have to readjust as you get this right. So start on a corner, clamp there, maybe on the other corner, clamp, and so on, and just work your way around. Just clamping it to the bed. So now you've got one in each corner. Now let's do one in each middle. So there and here. So I would put the ones on the ends last because I'm going to grip those sides together. It's not a big deal. Just going to grip them together and bunch it up. It's the last thing I do just to make sure it's tight and no animals are going to be able to get in. But also so that the net is tight, so that say if a bat does tend accidentally land on the net, gets attracted to whatever's in there, tomatoes or something, hits the net, they don't get tangled up in it as easy. They can easily get out. In my whole time of gardening here, 15 years of using nets like this, I've never seen one animal tangled in our nets. So that's a good thing. I've never even seen any animal break through the nets or scratch through the nets or anything. They just simply stay away from it. I know I've heard of other people having animals get tangled in nets and stuff, something you should keep an eye out for. But for me, it's never happened. I think it's a fairly rare thing. Now you can see there are a few gaps. This is when you just pull them tight close together and start gripping them up, and you'll soon get rid of any gaps. So from here, pull it, gap it up, grip it up, take that clamp off, give it a bit of a twist, see how it's pulling it and stopping those gaps, and then clamping it on in that ball there. And then once you've got the sides done, then it's just a matter of gripping it in to the middle here and just bunching up the ends. Give it a bit of a twist. You've got plenty of room to give if you needed it, which we didn't. Might need to just tidy up this side a bit, so just remove this clamp and just go around and just make sure that the gaps are, they don't have to be super tight or anything, just they have to just be neat. Tidy this end up a little bit. Yeah, that's cool. And there you go. Have a look at that. You've got nice height. It goes up in literally minutes. So easy to do, and it's also easy to take down as well. It's just a matter of getting rid of the clamps, pulling off that cover and changing that cover if you need to. And that's what we're going to do now. There we go. And then pack that up for next season. The next cover is this insect mesh here. It's got a really small mesh and it won't allow things like fruit fly or any other types of insects to get into your crops. The other thing is though, it also won't allow good insects like bees and some type of predator wasps and predator insects to get in there and control things like aphids and whitefly and other really tiny bugs too. So it's a bit of give and take. What a throw! Yep, good. You see how the framework has bent in? It's not under real stress, it's just molded nicely. The next cover is shade cloth. Now, why would you use this? Well, in case it gets too hot. In some climates, especially subtropical or dry desert climates, in the middle of summer, it's just way too hot to grow things, especially most vegetables. So by giving them a little bit of shade, you can protect that crop from getting sunburnt and from suffering too much, and therefore it could be still quite productive even though you're growing at a really harsh time of year. Shade cloth can also give you protection, say from hail. This particular type here is a 30% shade. You can get 30, 50, 70, but I would advise going 30 or 50 maximum, because fruit and veg really do like some sun to get good results anyway. Okay, I could fix this up more, and I should, to get it nice and neat, but I can't be bothered. You get the idea. It's not the prettiest example, but it would protect your plants from the sun. And the last example I have for you is the garden bed hothouse using plastic, because even in a subtropical climate you do have some cool winters where you just can't grow things like peppers, or you might want to extend the season of chilies and capsicum into the winter in a subtropical situation. You might be in Florida. Here I'm north of Brisbane. Or in a cold climate, you could use it to start things perhaps early, protect crops from frost, or again extend the season as you're coming into winter. And there's your hothouse. I can tell you what, it is hot. As I was putting this last one on, I went in here and had a look. You can feel the heat already in there. It's amazing how fast that heats up. And so it does really work as a hothouse. And all these covers, they're all easy to gain access to. Yes, some of the harsher materials like this plastic and the shade cloth might be a little tougher, but the insect netting and the bird netting is really easy. All you pretty much do is you just clamp whatever you want to get to. You unclamp it, might unclamp one side, and then just lift it up, put the clamp on, and then that's all you have to do. Lift it up there, put a clamp on, get to what you want to do. Whew, it's hot in there. Get in there, plant your plants, harvest your plants, fix your plants, prune your plants, whatever. And then once you're finished, simply just put it back down again. Of course, you can be a little bit more pedantic than me. I'm just doing these demonstrations, and so they're not perfect. I'm getting through them pretty quickly so that I can just show you how it's done rather than getting them absolutely perfectly framed up. But of course, you'll have a lot more time and fun doing it. Now, at the end of the season, it's just as easy to pack up, if not easier. Then you've already got this made. You can pack it away, store it, and be ready for the next season. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you give it a big, protective and covered up thumbs up, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Make sure that you share the video around. If you think it's a good video, sharing my content around helps my channel out heaps. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye for now. I'm going to get out of this winter's sun. It's ridiculous, especially that hothouse. Holy crikey, I wouldn't like to be lying in there for too long, I tell you what. Whew, it does work a treat though. Cheers.